My name is Emily. I'm 32 years old, and I've always believed in the Hippocratic Oath that doctors would do no harm. I'm going to tell you a story about betrayal, about lies, and about fighting for the truth. I'd been experiencing some strange symptoms, and my GP referred me to a specialist, Mr. Jenkins. I trusted him from the start. He seemed kind and knowledgeable. He told me I needed a procedure to fix the problem. I asked him what it entailed, and he explained it would be a simple operation with minimal risks. "You're in good hands, Emily," he said. "This procedure has a high success rate, and you'll be back on your feet in no time." I signed the consent form, trusting him completely. But little did I know, my trust would soon be shattered. Weeks went by, and I started to feel worse, not better. I called Mr. Jenkins's office concerned. "Emily, you're just experiencing normal side effects," his nurse said. "It's all part of the recovery process." But I wasn't convinced. Something didn't feel right. I started to research the procedure and its potential risks. That's when I stumbled upon some disturbing information. The procedure Mr. Jenkins performed wasn't exactly what I'd consented to, and the risks he hadn't mentioned were serious. I felt a knot in my stomach as I realized the truth. Mr. Jenkins had lied to me. He'd withheld crucial information, and I'd unknowingly put my health at risk. I knew I had to confront him, but I was scared. What had he done to me, and why had he lied? The questions swirled in my head as I scheduled an appointment with Mr. Jenkins. I was determined to get answers. But as I sat in his office, I couldn't shake the feeling that my life was about to change forever. "Mr. Jenkins," I said, my voice firm, "we need to talk." "What is it, Emily?" he replied, his expression calm. "You lied to me," I accused. "You didn't tell me about the risks. You didn't give me informed consent." His expression changed, and for a moment, I saw a glimmer of something in his eyes. But then, he spoke. "Emily, I did what I thought was best for you." I wasn't sure I believed him, and I knew I wouldn't rest until I uncovered the truth. 1. I started to dig deeper, researching everything about my condition and the procedure Mr. Jenkins performed. I talked to other patients who had similar experiences, and some of them shared their own stories of negligence. One patient, Sarah, told me about her own battle with Mr. Jenkins. "He's got a reputation for being reckless," she said. "I've been trying to get someone to listen to me for months." I realized I wasn't alone, and that gave me the strength to keep fighting. I scheduled another appointment with Mr. Jenkins, determined to get answers. When I arrived at his office, his receptionist told me he was busy. "You'll have to wait," she said. I waited for over an hour, and finally, Mr. Jenkins called me in. "What can I do for you, Emily?" he asked, his tone dismissive. "I know what you did," I said, my voice firm. "You lied to me about the procedure. You didn't give me informed consent." Mr. Jenkins leaned back in his chair. "I did what I thought was best for you," he repeated. "That's not good enough," I said. "I want to see my medical records. I want to know exactly what you did to me." Mr. Jenkins hesitated, and for a moment, I thought he was going to refuse. But then he nodded. "I'll get them for you," he said. As I waited for my records, I felt a sense of anticipation. What would I find? Would it confirm my suspicions, or would it clear Mr. Jenkins's name? The door opened, and Mr. Jenkins's assistant handed me a thick stack of papers. "Here are your records," she said. I started to read, and what I found shocked me. Mr. Jenkins had altered my medical history. He'd changed the dates and details of my treatment. I felt a surge of anger and determination. I would make sure he paid for what he'd done. But little did I know, this was just the beginning of a long and difficult journey. I would have to fight not just Mr. Jenkins, but the entire medical establishment. And I was ready. I took my findings to a medical malpractice lawyer, hoping he would take my case. But he hesitated. "This is a tough case," he said. You'll need to prove Mr. Jenkins intentionally misled you. I was determined to pursue it, so I asked him what I needed to do. Get expert testimony, he said. Find a doctor who will back up your claim. I spent weeks searching for a doctor willing to testify against Mr. Jenkins. Many refused, citing fear of retaliation or damage to their reputation. One doctor, Dr. Lee, agreed to meet with me. I'll review your case, she said, but I need to see all the evidence. I gave her the documents, and she studied them carefully. This is disturbing, she said. Mr. Jenkins's actions were reckless and negligent. Dr. Lee agreed to testify on my behalf, but just as we were about to go to court, the hospital's lawyer contacted us. We're willing to settle, he said. I was torn. Part of me wanted to take the settlement and move on, but another part of me wanted justice. What kind of settlement are we talking about? I asked. The lawyer named a figure that made my eyes widen. It was substantial, but would it be enough to make up for what I'd been through? I looked at Dr. Lee, who shook her head slightly. Don't settle, she mouthed. But was I ready to take on the hospital and Mr. Jenkins in court? The thought sent a shiver down my spine. I need time to think about it, I said. The lawyer nodded. You have 24 hours to decide. As I walked out of the office, I knew my decision would change everything. But what would I choose? I stood outside the hospital's administrative office, my heart racing with anticipation. I had been preparing for this moment for weeks, gathering evidence and building my case. Now, it was time to confront the hospital's administration about Mr. Jenkins's malpractice. I took a deep breath and walked into the office. The administrator, a stern-looking woman, looked up from her desk. Can I help you? She asked. I'm here about Mr. Jenkins, I said, my voice firm. He lied to me about my treatment. He altered my medical records. I have proof. The administrator's expression didn't change. I'm afraid you'll need to make an appointment with our complaints department, she said. I've already done that, I replied, but I want to speak to someone in charge. Now. The administrator hesitated, then picked up the phone. I'll call our CEO, she said. A few minutes later, a well-dressed man walked into the office. I'm Dr. Thompson, the CEO, he said. What seems to be the problem? I've been a victim of medical malpractice, I said, my voice shaking with anger. Mr. Jenkins lied to me about my treatment. I've gathered evidence, and I'm demanding action. Dr. Thompson's expression was calm, but I could see a flicker of concern in his eyes. Let's discuss this further, he said. But first, let's go somewhere private. He led me to a conference room, where we sat down at a large table. Tell me more about your concerns, he said. I laid out my evidence, document by document. Dr. Thompson listened intently, his expression growing more serious by the minute. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. I apologize for what you've been through, he said. We'll investigate this immediately. If Mr. Jenkins has indeed committed malpractice, we'll take action. I felt a surge of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I would finally get justice. But as I left the hospital, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. The investigation took several weeks, and I anxiously awaited the results. Finally, I received a call from Dr. Thompson's office. We'd like to meet with you, he said. I arrived at the hospital, and Dr. Thompson greeted me with a somber expression. We've completed our investigation, he said, and we have found evidence of misconduct by Mr. Jenkins. My heart leapt with hope. What does this mean? I asked. It means we'll be taking disciplinary action against him, Dr. Thompson replied. He's been suspended pending further review. I felt a sense of vindication, knowing that Mr. Jenkins would face consequences for his actions. What about my case? I asked. We'll work with you to ensure you receive the proper care and compensation, Dr. Thompson said. I left the hospital feeling a sense of relief wash over me. It had been a long and difficult journey, but it seemed like justice was finally being served. As I walked out of the hospital, I ran into one of the nurses who had worked with Mr. Jenkins. "I knew something was wrong," she said quietly. "I'm glad you're getting justice." Her words surprised me. "You knew?" I asked. She nodded. There were rumors, whispers among the staff, but no one dared to speak out. I realized that I wasn't alone, that there were others who had suspected Mr. Jenkins' wrongdoing, and I wondered how many other patients might have been affected. The nurse handed me a piece of paper with her phone number. "If you need any more support, call me," she said. I took the paper, feeling grateful for her courage. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something bigger. Maybe this would lead to real change in the hospital, and I was determined to be a part of it. The hospital's disciplinary action against Mr. Jenkins was just the beginning. The medical board launched a full investigation into his practices, and soon, other patients came forward with similar complaints. I was called to testify against Mr. Jenkins at the medical board hearing. As I sat in the hearing room, I saw Mr. Jenkins's face for the first time since the investigation began. The board members questioned me about my treatment and my experiences with Mr. Jenkins. I told them everything, from the initial consultation to the discovery of his lies. After I finished testifying, the board members deliberated. Finally, they reached a decision. "Mr. Jenkins's medical license is hereby revoked," the chairman announced. I felt a sense of closure, knowing that Mr. Jenkins would never be able to harm another patient again. The hospital also offered me a settlement, acknowledging their failure to properly supervise Mr. Jenkins. As I accepted the settlement, I realized that this experience had changed me. I was no longer the trusting patient I had once been, but I was determined to use my experience to help others. I started speaking out about medical malpractice, sharing my story with others to raise awareness. And I wasn't alone. Other patients who had suffered at the hands of Mr. Jenkins joined me, and together, we made our voices heard. The hospital also made changes, implementing new policies to prevent similar incidents in the future. It was a long and difficult journey, but in the end, justice was served. And I had found a new purpose, helping others to avoid the same mistakes I had made. As I look back on that difficult time, I realize that it taught me a valuable lesson. Trusting others can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's essential to have faith in the people we rely on, like doctors. On the other hand, it's crucial to be vigilant and advocate for ourselves. I've learned to speak up and ask questions, even when it's uncomfortable. I've also learned to trust my instincts and not be afraid to seek a second opinion. My experience has given me a new perspective on life. I've become more proactive about my health and more aware of the importance of patient advocacy. I've also been able to help others who have gone through similar experiences. Sharing my story has given me a sense of purpose, and I hope that it will inspire others to take control of their own health. The journey has been long and challenging, but I've emerged stronger and wiser. I'll always carry the scars of that experience, but I'm grateful for the lessons I've learned. In the end, it's not about the mistakes that were made, but about how we respond to them. We can choose to let them define us, or we can use them as an opportunity for growth. I'll never forget what I went through, but I'm determined to use it to make a difference. And I hope that my story will inspire others to do the same. This is the end of my story. Thank you for watching, and if you like this kind of content, kindly leave us a like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Thank you.